r/Reddit, what was your legendary black market story in school? We had a locker that people would buy stuff from. You write your name, what you wanted, locker combo, and locker number with the select amount of cash and slide it into the locker. About a week later it showed up. Most the time it was a way to get weird stuff, but some used it for some shit like pot and medication. It got shut down senior year, but somehow, the operator was never caught. That sounds fucking incredible. Did the students know who he was? I like to think he went onto weapons smuggling. That sounds creative, not gonna lie. What stopped people from looking up the lockers written on it and stealing the money? We had slits in our lockers that were big enough to drop papers into them. They dropped the papers and the money into the locker. It was a trust system really. The guy running it had an extra lock on his locker that took a key so people couldn't steal from it. Skittles. There was this crazy guy that we all called the Skittler because he had a backpack full of Skittles on him at all times and would sell them for like 75 cents a pop. The Skittler was really strange though, and it almost wasn't even worth the interaction. The Skittler mayo skittle me this Batman. The Skittler deserves more upvotes. I imagine him to have a cane made of rainbows. r/boss fight. Skittle me this. He's a mid-level drug distributor now. You do know that, right? Only almost. This was a student, right? Pokemon and Magic cards. Eventually school banned Pokemon and Magic cards because they thought it was gang activity. Even if it was gang activity, there's nothing dangerous about Pokemon cards lol. What is so dangerous about Magic cards then? My science teacher sold mushrooms in high school. Sounds like a fungi. Parents had an illegal satellite scrambler in the 80s. I recorded segments of the Spice and Playboy channels and sold the VHS tapes for $10 each in 7th grade. Classic. Lol, I would have bought one. There was this one guy in the year above me who picked a bunch of regular grass from the school grounds, dried it on a radiator, and bagged it up to sell to the first years as weed. Madlad. Reminds me of the weird kid in my school who bought lemonade powder to school and pretended that it was cocaine. The cafeteria wasn't allowed to sell any chocolate or fizzy drinks, so there were some kids who were renowned for always buying chocolate, sweets and fizzy drinks which they sell throughout the day. I was once told by one guy who I was friendly with that he made a close to £1,000 sterling by the end of the year. They acted and were treated like drug dealers with teachers trying to catch them out to take their stash of goods. One teacher liked doing it just to eat/drink all the contraband. He later got diabetes. I sold nude pictures of women in high school, $1 a picture. My market stopped when my client, the only kid who bought me pictures, came and gave them all back to me. I think he got caught by his mother. It was an easy $10. Did he at least clean the pictures off first? Energy drinks. This was me. I'd buy $20 worth in the morning and sell them for $5 a can. Usually doubled my money, which also fed my personal caffeine addiction. Never get high off your own supply, you silly goose. I still was walking away with more money than I was spending, and I also had cigarettes to sell for $1 each as well, so I wasn't too worried about it at the time lol. I was making bank. Money can buy anything except for love and caffeine resistance. Stay strong. Caffeaholics Anonymous is with you. Ketchup. It's stupid, but our school banned it because kids would step on ketchup packets and it would spray on people's clothes. The school started selling packets of ketchup for 25 cents each. The protests and the black market developed days after. It was so ridiculous it made the news. Kids would get suspended for bringing bottles of ketchup to school. It was all very stupid. Men died on the beaches of Normandy for this. Fake medical excuse notes. The practice in Bulgarian school system is that if you are absent from school, you need to present some sort of evidence to explain why you were not in class. The most common way of excusing your absence was providing a note from your doctor. It did not take long before students started buying blank medical excuse notes and creating fake doctor stamps to write their own. In every school there were a few distributors of doctor's notes. sometimes only one in monopolized markets. Also, there were always students famous with their doctor-like handwriting and expertise in medical conditions who were trusted with filling out the doctor's notes. That was a craftsmanship on its own. Our school was one of the first to give out a free iPad to every student. A few friends and I made money taking them home to download Gamma Boy emulators and ROM files. Charged $5 an iPad, and I went home with a stack of them each day until the teachers caught on. Walking home with 8 brand new iPads in a filmsy backpack each day was the most anxiety I ever felt too. Beyblade parts, modded launchers, bases, anything related to Beyblade we started selling. This continued for about 5 months until somebody got their parts stolen and complained to their teacher. Needless to say, we absolutely destroyed that kid after. Got him it jarred. My school had an underground Beyblade battle ring in the 3rd story boys bathroom. My Beyblade won almost always cause it had a really heavy top. It was full metal, self-made, and a bottom from a really fast Beyblade. It hit like the fucking truck in Pet Sematary. I didn't always participate, cause my mom got suspicious if came back from school with €20 once a week. Teachers punished us by making us write "I will refrain from extemporaneous vocalization" during valuable pedagogical opportunities 50 or 100 times as homework. So over the summer we would do up a few hundred sheets of that, and we could sell or use them as necessary. They never caught on and slightly changed the phrase. Would you write them or copy them? Trying to figure out how they wouldn't notice it was a copy. Teachers at my school accepted computer typed lines. Guess they never realized we just copy pasted all 30 pages. Teachers at my school used to love giving lines as homework as a punishment. This was around 1996 or 1997, and I was one of the only kids at school with a laser printer and document scanner at home. If someone got lines as punishment, I would get them to write out one line on a single sheet before they left for the day. I'd then use the scanner to copy and paste the line several times to fill the page. Used to get paid about £5 per sheet to do that. In high school we had off-campus lunch for juniors and seniors only, and you couldn't be in trouble or have below a 3.0 GPA, or you wouldn't get the sticker on your student ID that you showed the campus police officer when you left for lunch. So my friends, the stoner/party kids, wanted to go off campus too, but we usually didn't meet all the requirements. So we had one of the computer whiz friends just get identical copies of the stickers made with the school logo and same color sticker paper. They sold them for $70 and everyone had off-campus lunch. It worked great, but after a couple years they caught on and made holographic stickers thinking that would stop it. My friends who were younger and still in school figured out how to make those too and sold them for $150. It was quite a racket and bamboozle on the whole off-campus lunch system. Why the fuck are American schools run like military bases? School campus police officers, behavior, and grade-based off-campus permit, seriously. Once you turn 14 in Germany you can just leave as you please, as long as you show up in time for your classes. I sold oranges and grapefruits injected with vodka. This is next level ingenious. I wouldn't even be mad as a teacher if I caught this. I'd be impressed. Porn. I went to school in Ireland in the 90s, and at the time porn mags were banned. You couldn't even get Playboy, and the top shelf consisted of mags like Maxim. We had relatives in the UK where there were no such restrictions, so we visited a couple of times a year. Puberty had hit me like a train, so I could easily pass for old enough. Either that or the corner news agents didn't care. I would stock up, put them in the bottom of my bag, and sell them when I got back to school. Then I discovered mail order and started moving quite a bit of product as I could get it all year round. I didn't make much money, but I did make a lot of people happy. You fucking legend. The porn smuggler. Wait, how did you get it through airport security if you flew? Lol. I mean, it's not illegal, but it would have been really awkward. They never picked up on it. I guess seeing as it was available in every corner news agent in the UK they didn't really bother. I would imagine it would be a lot tougher now. When I was aged 12, 15 years, over 40 years ago, I ran the biggest black market our Somerset, UK, school has ever seen. For a black market to function I needed stuff to trade. By good fortune there was a Woolworths in the local town. You could walk in empty-handed and then walk out with every pocket full of stolen stuff. Every day of the week. Even big items which, thinking back, were pretty impossible to hide. Like radios and fishing rods. And so I did. These were traded for money which was used, in turn to get a sixth former, 18-year-old, to buy porn. Now porn was a really hot commodity. You could use it to shift weapons, like knives and air pistols. And fireworks. Gunpowder is the best. I managed to literally blow up my music teacher. Also for trading to the older kids, who would get alcohol in return. I rented lockers from other kids, but always kept half of them empty. Once during a boring class, I shot a kid in the face with an air pistol as he was running past the classroom outside, through the open window. As you do. The noisy fucker spazzed out there and then, rolling around screaming, like he'd been shot in the face. Of course the police were called, but I was able to show them my empty lockers. Another time, playing splits with a huge Bowie knife. After chugging half a bottle of gin, I threw it, and it went through some poor kid's foot. Another undignified noisy baby rolling around on the ground. Cue the police again. And to top it all, I was a school prefect. Funny thing was, I eventually, not surprisingly, lost my prefect status. But so as not to disappoint, I managed to get another prefect badge via a porn trade. Every lunch hour, I would put on my new prefect badge and patrol along the school lane, confiscating not just the cigarettes being smoked, but also the whole packets, from snotty-nosed brats who were trying their first smoke. They had no idea who I was, but the badge was all the authority I needed. Of course they could buy them back later, but you could make a lot of money by threatening to tell their parents. Talk about absolute power corrupting absolutely. Looking back, all I can say is thank God there were no darknet markets or drugs. You freaking legend. In the early days of AOL a lot of us got good at creating fake accounts using made up or phished credit cards. If you remember back then you'd get prompted to buy something at startup, digital camera, or whatever. We'd buy that every time and had it shipped to a house that was under construction forever. Our school had a lot of 1 megapixel digital cameras and CD players until the FBI wised up. I didn't get caught, really didn't participate too much, but others got tried as a minor. Insane amounts of community service had to be done. Fairies. Back in the 2nd grade, this girl made quite a bit of money selling glass jars filled with leaves, twigs, and tiny pebbles, and she claimed that a fairy was inside the glass jar too. Of course we couldn't see the fairy, but she was so convincing that kids actually bought these jars from her. Yeah, I'm one of those kids who bought from her. The look on my dad's face was priceless when he saw me talking to the invisible fairy in the damn jar. Years later I learned that she became a part of a group that started an MLM scam. She didn't get our. You've reached the end. You're a bloody star. Hope you enjoyed it. Destroy the subscribe button for more like that.